DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio's always here for you to give you lessons on air for vital information and quality education wherever you are, whatever you do. This is DepEd Radio Lesson on Air. DepEd Radio Lesson on Air. DepEd Radio, made possible by DepEd Radio Philippines. Member KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, and Department of Education. Sulong Edukalidad. You are listening to DepEd Radio, School on Broadcast, a production by the Department of Education, Educational Technology Unit. Member, KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. This is a School on Broadcast, Lesson on Air.
You know we're here for you, because we care for you. It's fun time too. We learn with you. We care. Lessons on air. DepEd Radio.
The universe, vast and mysterious. A majestic display of the stars, planets, galaxies, and all other celestial bodies that has amazed us for thousands of years now. It includes space, time, and all the energy and matter it can contain. And of course, it includes you and me. It is simply everything that exists. But how big is our universe? And how did we develop our knowledge about it? These questions and more will be answered as we start a brand new quarter. A great day to all of you! I am Teacher Tony, your teacher daddy on air. Worry no more, because I will guide you on your quest for scientific knowledge, and I will help you unleash the saysay at husay ng inyong mga sarili. Come on! Let us continue our journey in unfolding the exciting world of physical science.
DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio.
In our previous lessons in physical science, we established our ideas about the connection of chemistry to our everyday lives. You learn about the formation, characteristics, properties, and interactions of atoms and different elements. As young scientists, you were able to rediscover the challenging yet enjoyable world of chemical reactions and its real-life applications. Lastly, by knowing the chemistry behind energy sources and common consumer products, you were encouraged and challenged at the same time to be a proactive youth who promotes a cleaner and sustainable planet Earth. Our lessons for this quarter will now focus on some fundamental knowledge about physics. Yes, you heard it right, physics. Some of you are thinking that it is really a hard subject, right? But don't you worry, I am always here to help you out. Remember that we are all in this journey together. The word physics comes from the Greek word physik, meaning nature. It is the study of matter and energy and their interactions. So, why do we need to study physics? It is simply because it explains many things and events in our world, from the simplest to the most complicated things using scientific laws. It might not answer some of your wildest questions like, bakit di ka crush ng crush mo? But trust me, studying physics, just like all the other sciences, will all be worth it. It will help you understand the world and the universe that we all lived in.
DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio.
Have you been to an observatory? It is a building with a large dome-shaped structure specifically designed for the observation of astronomical, meteorological, or other natural phenomena with the use of large, powerful telescopes. It is a perfect venue for a virtual tour of the heavens, using gadgets and technologies developed through the science of physics. If you are an astronomy enthusiast like me, you will surely enjoy the stargazing and telescoping sessions that are conducted there. But do you ever wonder how has our view of the universe changed over time? Join me as we start exploring the physics behind the Earth and everything in the universe as we revisit ancient astronomy. For our first lesson, we are going to talk about how the early philosophers, specifically the Greeks, knew that the Earth is spherical in shape. We will travel back in time and get to know some of the important people from ancient times and their ideas and contributions to our understanding of our planet and other celestial bodies in space. Lastly, we will look into the different astronomical phenomena that were known by early astronomers even before the telescope was invented. So, my dear senior high school learners, are you now ready for takeoff so we can start our journey? That's great! Let's begin! In your world history class, you gained knowledge about ancient Greece and its people. Ancient Greece is recognized as the birthplace of Western philosophy, literature, mathematics, science, history, arts, the Olympic Games, and democracy. Did you know that the golden age of early astronomy was centered in Greece? Yes, the ancient Greeks had the habit of thinking and at the same time explaining the natural events that happened around them, just like the rising of the sun, the movement of stars, and many others. They were excellent observers and very imaginative. During their time, they thought that the Earth was the center of the universe and that the Sun and all the other planets orbited the Earth. Kind of weird, right? We call this the geocentric view of the universe. They even thought that the stars traveled daily around our planet and that it is enclosed in a hollow sphere called the celestial sphere, where the stars, the sun, and other heavenly bodies could also be found. Please take note, class, that the ancient Greeks just relied on their senses, simple tools, and math concepts. They combined this with philosophical and religious symbolism to come up with a better picture of the universe. The word scientist did not exist during their time. Instead, people with bright and convincing ideas were called natural philosophers. But interestingly, some of the ideas of the early Greeks were actually correct despite the absence of modern devices and technologies during their time. One of which is proving that the Earth is round or spherical in shape.
DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio.
Even before Ferdinand Magellan and his crew circumnavigated the Earth, which was proof that our planet is round, not flat, the Greeks were already able to prove that our planet has a three-dimensional spherical shape. It was somehow rooted in their belief that the sphere is a perfect figure. Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived, listed several arguments as proof for his idea of a spherical Earth. First on the list is the location of the North Star. Are you familiar with it? We now refer to this star as Polaris. It is almost directly above the Earth's North Pole and serves as a landmark in the sky for travelers without a compass. Aristotle noticed that when he traveled to Egypt, which is near the equator, the North Star was close to the horizon, When we say horizon, this is the line at which the Earth's surface and the sky appears to meet. When he returned to Greece, it was high in the sky again. Would that be possible if the North Star is in a fixed position? Well, yes, if the Earth is round. This is because Aristotle traveled along a curve. Let's say he traveled farther south. Could he still see the North Star? You are right. He won't be able to see the North Star if he happened to be in the southern hemisphere. If the Earth were flat, then Polaris would be visible from anywhere in the planet. Next, Aristotle argued that if the Sun and the Moon are both spherical, then perhaps the Earth also has the same shape. Another observation that will prove that the Earth is round according to Aristotle and other Greeks is the disappearance of ships in the horizon. Have you observed a tall ship sail over the horizon? What did you notice? The bottom part of the ship disappears faster than the top part, as if it were being enveloped by the water. If the Earth is flat, then a ship traveling away from an observer would just become smaller and smaller until it disappeared. Aristotle also noticed that the Earth casts a circular shadow on the Moon during a lunar eclipse. This happens when our planet is between the Sun and the Moon, blocking the Sun's direct rays from lighting up the Moon. You will observe that the Moon changes into a dark or blood red color during this incredible phenomenon. Today, because of the advancement of technologies, we have come to know that we really have a spherical planet. To be specific, scientists use the term oblate spheroid to refer to its shape. Again, it is called oblate spheroid. It means that our planet is not perfectly round. It has a bulging equator and squeeze poles. Astronomy is an area where Aristotle and all the other ancient Greeks displayed a remarkable talent. Well, you can be like them too. You just have to be very observant and be critical thinkers. You are still listening to DepEd Radio. And joining you on your learning adventure is me, Sir Tony, your teacher daddy on air. I hope that your minds and your hearts are still very much eager to learn more about the marvelous world of physics. So, let us not waste our time, senior high learners. Let us now continue our amazing lessons on air.
DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio.
Time for us to get to know more about the people from the ancient times who contributed to our understanding of our planet and the universe as a whole. Behold, I now present to you the pillars of ancient astronomy. Pythagoras, Greek philosopher and mathematician. Pythagoras was one of the first to suggest that the Earth is round. He thought that the Earth, as well as the stars and other planets, orbited a central fire. As a mathematician, he is also famous for his Pythagorean theorem, which is used in studying triangles. Anaxagoras, Greek philosopher and mathematician. Anaxagoras was known for his discovery of why eclipses happen. He thought that the sun was a hot rock and that the moon shines because of the reflected light from the sun. Plato, Greek philosopher. Plato believed that the entire universe was constructed with precision, and that circles and spheres were the key to understanding it. According to him, the stars, the sun, and moon were fixed in concentric crystalline spheres that rotate inside one another. Remember that when we say concentric, it means that the celestial bodies have a common center. Two of Plato's students enhanced his ideas of the spheres. They were Eudoxus and Aristotle. Eudoxus, Greek mathematician and astronomer. Eudoxus' model of the universe has 27 concentric spheres for the Sun, Moon, planets, and the stars, which are all revolving around the Earth. Aristotle, Greek philosopher. Aristotle considered the model of Eudoxus and introduced the concept of the prime mover, the reason behind the movement of the spheres. If Eudoxus had 27 spheres, Aristotle had 56 spheres in his model of the universe. The next pillar of ancient astronomy is Eratosthenes, a Greek mathematician and geographer. Using the concept of trigonometry and the knowledge of the angle of elevation of the sun at noontime in two Egyptian cities, Alexandria and Syene, Eratosthenes was able to calculate the circumference of the Earth to be 250,000 stadia, equivalent to 25,000 miles or 40,000 kilometers. Amazingly, this is very close to our present data of 24,901 miles or 40,075 kilometers. He is indeed a genius. The next person on our list is often considered as the first real astronomer because of his systematic observations of the sky. He goes by the name of Hipparchus, a Greek astronomer and mathematician. Some of his important contributions include the discovery of the Earth's precession, which means that our planet wobbles as it spins on its axis, like a fading spinning top. The accurate measurement of the distance between the Earth and the Moon, and the making of a star catalog that documented the positions and magnitudes or brightness of over 800 stars. Like Hipparchus, the next person that we are going to talk about made an astronomical manual explaining the motion of stars and planets, which he called Almagest. He is Claudius Ptolemy, an Egyptian astronomer, mathematician, and geographer. Ptolemy developed a geocentric model otherwise known as the Ptolemaic model that was believed by many for more than 1,500 years. According to him, planets orbited on small circles called epicycles that revolve around large circles called deferents. The last pioneer in astronomy was quite different from the other philosophers because he proposed that the sun, not the earth, is the center of the so-called universe. He is Aristarchus, a Greek astronomer. Aristarchus started the idea of having a heliocentric universe. For him, all the planets revolve around a fixed sun in circular orbits. It is like the solar system model that we know today. However, his theory did not last because of the general acceptance of the Ptolemaic model. There you have it, senior high learners! Our pillars of ancient astronomy: Pythagoras, Anaxagoras, Plato, Eudoxus, Aristotle, Eratosthenes, Hipparchus, Ptolemy, and Aristarchus. They might have different ideas, but their contributions benefited us all, especially in the development of our idea of the Earth and the universe. As future men and women of science, I hope you have been inspired by their brilliance and hard work. Advanced tools and equipment used to explore space have really made a difference in the way we understand our planet and the universe. But did you know that even before the invention of telescopes, ancient people have already observed different astronomical phenomena? This includes the rising and setting of the sun, the different phases of the moon, and the lunar and solar eclipses. They were also able to observe the 5 bright planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The people from the ancient times had also observed the daily motion of stars and other celestial bodies across the sky caused by Earth's rotation. We call this diurnal motion. This is the reason behind the setting of the sun and the stars. Lastly, they were also able to observe the motion of the sun caused by the Earth's revolution around it. We call this annual motion. Because of this motion, we experience different types of seasons, and we can see the zodiac constellations at a specific time of the year. Today's adventure gave us a glimpse into the minds of the learned men of ancient Greece, whose desire to understand our planet and other celestial bodies in space made them the pioneers of science of astronomy. Their ideas and contributions have helped provide a better picture of our planet and the universe as we know it.
DepEd Radio. DepEd Radio.
To test your understanding of today's lesson, why don't you challenge yourself in answering the Ancient Astronomy Quiz? Listen carefully to the question and choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. Which of the following ancient Greek philosophers computed for the circumference of the Earth? A. Anaxagoras. B. Aristotle. C. Eratosthenes. Or D. Pythagoras. The correct answer is C. Eratosthenes. Number 2. This refers to the obscuring of the light from one celestial body by the passage of another between it and the observer, or between it and its source of illumination. A. Eclipse. B. Solstice. C. Constellation. Or D. Meteor shower. If you answered A. Eclipse, you are definitely right. Number 3. Planets orbited on small circles called epicycles that revolve around large circles called deferents. This is the idea of blank. A. Plato. B. Ptolemy. C. Pythagoras. Or D. Hipparchus. Time's up. That was the idea of B. Ptolemy. Number 4. What is the reason why we experience different kinds of seasons? A. Annual motion. B. Diurnal motion. C. Celestial motion. Or D. Intergalactic motion. The correct answer is A. Annual motion. And number 5. Who is the Greek philosopher who started the idea that all the planets revolve around a fixed sun in circular orbits? A. Aristarchus. B. Anaxagoras. C. Eudoxus. Or D. Plato. If you answered A. Aristarchus, you are an astronomy genius. I know that you did great on this challenging yet fun quiz. Time flies so fast when we are having fun learning. Before we finally end this episode, I would like you to ponder on this quotation. There's only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. Class, remember to always strive to be the better version of yourself every day. This has been Sir Tony, your teacher daddy on air. It is an honor to have guided you today. Join me in our next learning session as we discuss modern astronomy. Stay inspired and be an empowered student by listening only here on DepEd Radio.
DepEd Radio, made possible by DepEd Radio Philippines. Member KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. And Department of Education, sulong edukalidad.